Hello everyone, welcome to another Power Talk with Archana. I have a great news for all of you from the retail sector. The retail sector is coming back to life in August 2020. Aren't you happy? No, but the report says it's going to come back not before November, December. While there are other reports and analytics that project the retail will go green not before January 2021. While the consumers are indulging in wild guesses driven by their needs and desires to shop, our policymakers, marketing heads, economists are digging their heads into this puzzle as when the consumer is going to go shopping absolutely safe. I have with me my guest Saurabh Bajaj, who's going to throw light on this. An alumnus of Indian Institute of Management, Indore, Saurabh is a part of my professional network and based in Bengaluru, India. He is the marketing head dairy of one of the most trusted Indian brands, Britannia Industries. With more than 15 years of experience in retail sector, Saurabh has served the best of names, not to forget his remarkable contribution at Mondelez International. He is known in the industry to be a go-getter, a positive and strategic approach leader, as he brings in fun element in all his projects that has made him a popular leader today. Let's hear from the master of the trade himself about his relationship with current pandemic and the retail sector and what kept this guy going and innovating business strategies that held the company's flag high even during the pandemic. Let's welcome Saurabh on board. Hello Saurabh, how are you doing?
Hi Archana, so nice to be talking to you today. Looking forward to a good conversation.
Absolutely. Pleasure is ours. Looking forward as well. Great, Saurabh. So tell us, there's a lot going on today. Everybody's in a mess as far as the economy is concerned. Shopping is not happening. People are not happy. The retail sector is seeing a big time doom here. So, what is your advice to the marketing community, the fraternity, entry level, mid level, the senior level? What should be their strategies? What has got you going so far effectively? Please tell us.
So I think the pandemic has hit us all with a shock, right? I think the only thing that we can take solace from is that hopefully something like this happens only once in a lifetime. And once we are done, we can probably say, goodbye to the bad times, hopefully for a long time to come. So it is definitely a time of great distress for many of us. It's definitely a tough and a challenging time. And it's also an opportunity for some. And I think, what most of us can do to remain resilient in these times is to try and focus on the opportunities and make the most of the bad that we have, right? I think that's really what my top of the mind advice would be.
Right. I think quite right. Also, as a marketer, I feel it's very important for people to, whatever is going on in their mind to implement it because consumers are ready. There has been a time, especially during these tough times, when there was nothing on the shelves. There was an absolute famine. So to be able to just throw your products in the market, keeping in mind the logistics and the other regulatory hurdles, I think it would be just the right thing to keep on doing whatever you plan and see how it goes because all said and done with the consumers are ready to buy the product. So I think more of innovation, more of strategic planning is required at every level so that things move the right way. Great. All right. So tell me, we know you've been a great leader. People love the way you work. You absolutely hold your teams together every time, especially during these pandemic times. You've been a great leader to work with. What do you consider your leadership style to be? What is your leadership style and what would you suggest people to work on their qualities to become a good leader?
Sure. So I think what's really important, especially during these times, right, is to really liberate the energy of your teams, right? And whether that is the people who report into you or whether it is your partners from the agency. I think in today's time, it's very important to hold the ship together, give confidence to each other. And, once you get your partnerships going, you realize you have so much to learn from everybody. So, as we got into this pandemic as well, some of the things that we did is that, each of us went and back, and, read up a lot of literature, aligned with our agencies and understood, what has happened in the past, what are the other stories that are there, right? What are the learnings coming in from other markets? So I think this is a lot of what we did. And
Yeah.
what we learned was quite amazing. So, just to give you an example of the bearing on the retail sector, something that we picked up when we discussed with each other is that,
Yeah.
there's a lot to learn from what has happened in China in these 4 5 months. So
Yeah.
what we learned when we studied China is that a set of categories actually grew. So categories like hygiene, as you're aware of, right?
Yeah.
Categories related to home cooking, things like cheese,
Yeah.
it actually grew during
Yeah.
this time. And we realized that wow, there's actually a business opportunity out there as well. Now, and then there were
Right.
certain essentials which saw a spike, yeah, but then we knew that those spike is not going to last because, as people got into the pandemic, there's a lot of hoarding and sort of stocking at home. But we realized that, it's a red herring because, people are just picking up those categories and they're stocking them at home. And hence that's not something which is going to last because if the pandemic is not giving people a reason to consume those categories more, it's a temporary
Right.
blip. At the
Yeah.
same time, there were certain categories that we felt that, the bottom is falling off, right?
Yeah.
But now, are those categories going to recover gradually, or are they going to recover very quickly? I think is the other piece
Yeah.
of learning that we picked up. So we realized that categories like chocolates, candy, right, is something which consumers are not going to be very keen during this time because there is no impulse happening. They will take a little bit of time to come back. But categories like yogurts, milkshakes are going to be things that, moment the consumer feels safe enough to have them, maybe he'll start having them again. So I think it's just, the style of leadership required at this time is to be very participative, is to involve a lot of people, be humble,
Yeah.
understand what are the learnings which people are sharing, implement those, execute them in the simplest possible manner. I think that really is
Right.
the money.
Right. I think quite right. It has to be more participative because, all said and done with, everybody is going through, we all are, together in this, and everybody is going through, everybody has a certain journey they are, taking at this point in time. And we need to be very careful and be participative so that the team, there's a cohesion in the team and everybody stays together, because ultimately it's the, not only the personal, but also the company goals that need to be met. Quite right, Saurabh. Absolutely right. So tell me, I mean, with people not really very willing to go to the market, place today to buy their products, are we seeing digitization of the grocery stores, or maybe looking at drone deliveries, because people are very aware of, that, infections, if I can say, the lockdown norms. So what do you suggest, and what are your thoughts on that?
So, Archana, this is something which I believe in, and I often say this to my team. Never waste a good crisis, right?
Yeah.
And, the important thing is crisis, yeah, often are horrible to go through, but they bring a set of opportunities which one should not let go of, right? And often in the long run, crisis can make us all very resilient and that much more stronger. you know
Yeah.
uh, if one sees the development in the scientific space, right,
Yeah.
actually the largest developments happen in the times of war, when people are going to war and there is so much of distress, but actually people are working overtime, there are budgets being funded, there is just so much happening out there. So when I
Yeah.
worked in Diageo, one of the things that we used to always often discuss is that what's holding the government back from allowing deliveries of alcohol, right? Something
Yeah.
so simple, right? And it can be so convenient in this country of ours because the person who is looking for a home delivery is not necessarily likely to be somebody who is at the lower SSE level. Is likely to be
Yeah.
somebody who's more affluent using it for socializing. At the same time,
Absolutely.
somebody who's looking for a home delivery, right, is important because there is a bit of a stigma associated with buying alcohol. Just like nobody
Yeah.
wants to go and buy meat, and which is why Licious is doing so well. Similarly,
Yeah.
there is so much more comfort, and you can place the entire category in a very different perspective had there
Yeah.
been delivery. Yeah, and hence I think the fact that regulators are opening up to some of these consumer challenges and being hence a little more flexible with the industry actually should
Yeah.
help the overall industry in a large way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, e-commerce is at different phases of growth for different categories. Yeah, I think a
Right.
drone delivery in a US is something that we can expect. In India, will possibly take a little more time, right? But
Right.
For categories like FMCG, e-commerce is growing at 300 to 500%, but it's still say 1% of our business. But for
Right.
apparel or for cosmetics, where it is probably already 20% plus, definitely this should only get the consumer even more comfortable. And what I
Yeah.
believe is that, while a lot of behavior during a pandemic is temporary, what you learn it becomes permanent. So when people learn
Absolutely.
how to use e-commerce, when people learn how to cook different kind of dishes, now that's a behavior that is learned, and that gives you benefit much beyond the immediate crisis or the pandemic.
I think quite right. I think that's very, very, very well said, Saurabh. Also, tell me one thing. I mean, like the companies have the retail, the FMCG, they have huge SKUs, you know. I mean, do you suggest that with people's choice, more towards the hygiene or, healthcare products, do you suggest that, companies should maybe limit their SKUs to ones that are of, the essential ones? How do you think the company should work towards this? Because definitely the spending capacity of the consumer is really squeezing down today.
So I always found this very interesting. When the whole pandemic started, I decided the first thing I must do is to do a PhD on it. So I read every damn thing on the pandemic which I could find wherever, any source of information, every data. I was on Worldometer making Excel sheets, just trying to, soak the entire thing in on, what's
Yeah,
really going on. And what I
yeah,
found amazing is that our country specifically is so underpenetrated. There is just so much of a headroom for consumption of all types that even through this pandemic, I think our country will grow. You know, I think
yeah,
it is countries like the US where you have to sell the same consumer an Xbox every month just to grow, because the degree of consumption there is just so high that they actually get impacted by all of these mega changes around us. I think a country like ours, which is just so underpenetrated, where basic consumption itself is so low, I feel there will be equal avenues for growth as there will be for loss. Now, of course,
yeah,
sectors like tourism, sectors like hospitality, they will get hit. Yeah, but believe you me, my belief is that even these hits will be temporary, and the market will come back with a vengeance. Maybe it will be maybe it's a testing time of 1 or 2 years. Maybe certain people with not as strong P&Ls will collapse. Maybe certain
yeah,
mergers and acquisitions will take place. But I think the Indian consumer will come back with a bang the moment he's able
yeah,
to. And even now, I mean, if you look at our Indian share markets, right? In March, everything collapsed. But today, the large strides which has happened in the market is just a testament to the fact that how resilient our economy, our consumer, our populace actually is. Sure, we'll have to get to live with the pandemic. We can't go out. We're all
yeah,
sitting at home. Yeah. But that
yeah.
does not mean that a lot of us will fundamentally change what we are doing. I don't think so. I think there is as much opportunity to add on new behaviors as it is to let go of some of them.
Yeah, I think quite right. I think we can expect a lot of mergers and acquisitions happening, and the kind of resilience the entire community, the globe has exhibited during these tough times. I think yes, you're quite right there. Great. All right. So tell me, I mean, you're working. You've worked for the best of brands. You've created a huge brand presence and created a wonderful image. What advice would you like to give to people to create that brand image, and that how important it is, and to make sure that it always stays?
So I think there are two parts to this question, right? One is purely from a marketing standpoint, and second is from a personal development standpoint. Yeah.
Yeah,
Now, if I address the marketing aspect of it, which is obviously my forte, yeah, uh, strong brands have a very strong core, and they never forget that core, right? Whether it be design product projects, or it be innovation, or it be advertising or marketing, right? One of the things which I've always observed is that when a brand wants to become more of what he or she is, when a brand wants to, when a dairy milk wants to become more chocolatey and becomes a silk, it becomes a bigger brand, right?
yeah,
When a
yeah,
brand stands for 2-minute noodles like your Maggie, right? And it says, can I fill up the consumer's life with even more potentially healthy goodness, so just goodness, I would say, yeah, it becomes large.
yeah,
I think brands lose their way when they get too enamored by watching their competition. When brands try to
Yeah,
become their competition, when if a Pizza Hut says that Domino's delivers faster and it tries to emulate the same delivery system, I think they become weaker. But if a Pizza Hut says that Domino's delivers faster, but hey, I give you the best possible eating experience, yeah, it
yeah,
becomes strong.
yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's just about reaching down into your core, realizing what you are, and being the best version of that. And the second part of the question, which I'll just touch upon lightly, is about how do you create yourself into a strong personal brand. I think the advice is the same. I think it's all about authenticity. It's about figuring out
Yeah.
who you are and being the best version of yourself.
Absolutely. I think uniqueness is the key word here. You need to stay absolutely unique and stick to your core values. And that is when you execute the best of qualities there in you and you project your brand to come out perfect. Great. Tell me, Saurabh, I mean, what has been your best decision you have taken so far for your company, for your brand, for your team? What is that one thing you're really proud of?
So I think what I am personally quite proud of, even during this time, during the pandemic, is that all of us are trying to figure out what's really going on, right? But I felt that my team really hunkered down with me, and all of us just spent a lot of time debating and discussing, even though we were isolated in our homes, on our phones, on our Zoom calls, about saying that what's really going on. Yeah, can we really decode it? Yeah, and I think we are all really, really passionate about it. And I think that passion that we sort of had, we were able to spread it to the larger ecosystem and share a far more detailed understanding of what's going on, what can we predict, right?
Yeah,
And what is the best way for the organization to leverage this opportunity rather than being worried about cutting costs. And the fact that this is
yeah,
not a time to cut costs, this is a time to understand consumer behavior and take the right steps.
yeah,
I think that's really
yeah.
something that personally I feel quite proud of. And I think I've had a great team and a support around me, and I think we have all managed to navigate a lot of these tough waters in the right way, and hopefully we should continue doing.
Absolutely. Our best wishes to you. Absolutely great. Tell me one thing, Saurabh. I mean, is there anything that you would want to change from all that has happened right from the very start of your career to where you are today? Is there anything that you would change in your, professional life? Maybe you had taken better decisions, or maybe something you could reverse.
So I'll probably answer this question with a bit of an anecdote, and maybe it's a little
Okay.
humorously. But in an ideal world, I probably would be doing research in physics, because I actually liked the pure sciences. And when with after a lot of love for physics, when I landed up in Delhi College of Engineering,
Oh,
I was like, what exactly is going on, and is this where I'm supposed to be? And I think it was just about having a lot of conversations. So in my third year of engineering, I actually spoke to a lot of people, and I met
hmm.
these very dynamic bunch of MBAs in a train ride back from Bombay to Delhi. And when I
Hmm.
saw them, I was like, you know what? These guys are like me. I mean, they like to talk a lot. They like to discuss. They are driven, and they want to have ideas for execution. I think that's when it sort of struck me, saying that there is maybe something else out there which is interesting for me. That's when
Yeah.
I found my journey into marketing. And I've been, thanks to God, very fortunate to have found my true north, and which has been marketing.
Yeah.
And hence I've had a chance to have a lot of glorious experiences. I think my time in Mondelez, where I spent almost a decade, was really amazing. I did some really fascinating work on Cadbury celebrations. And then I found my time into alcohol, where I got a chance to work on Captain Morgan Dark Rum, which is a very exciting brand. It's a maverick, and that's a quality which I relate with myself as well. And then I did marketing with Britannia in the international business. I got a chance to understand how the consumers are different between those in Egypt, Dubai, Bangladesh, Nepal, and so on and so forth. So it is really, really exciting for me. Yeah, and from there I moved into the marketing head role for dairy, where I'm probably doing the best work in my life. So hence I think it's been a
Wow.
very exciting journey for me. Hence.
Lovely. So you are an out and out marketer, an experienced seasoned fellow. Is there any book that you really want to write your marketing tips for people to Cherish.
It's, so I think in terms of books, for any budding marketeers out there, I think Al Rice and Jack Trout is everybody's favorite. In today's time, there's a book called How Brands Grow, which is very interesting. I think everybody should read that book. It's the Bible for today's time, right? I would love to write a book someday for sure, and I think that's what has driven me towards my Saturday column. I have started posting a post every Saturday, right? And I've been
Mhm.
really enjoying it because I've been trying to pull out some of the life lessons which I've learned, give gratitude to
Wow,
the bosses who have taught me that, yeah, and just generally reflect on
absolutely.
what the industry talks about and what's my take on them.
Lovely, great. So we will be looking forward to your book, and you have already started the building blocks by sending in your Saturday posts for all of us to cherish. Great. Wishing you all the best. One power message from your side as you would like to wind up this conversation to all the people out there, to marketeers, to professionals, to people at large, everybody, how to fight back with adversities and grow, come out strong. One power message from Saurabh Bajaj.
See, this message is actually more directed towards students because I think industry professionals are all doing what they can. But I think the
Yeah.
toughest time this is right now for those college students out there. Yeah. And
Yes.
I'm sure most of them are asking themselves, why me? Why did it have to happen to me? Why now? Why me? Right. The message which I want to leave them with is, guys, it is intensely difficult, right? None of us can claim to know what you're going through, but we've all through our tough times, been through our tough times. What I can tell you is that your career span 40 years, and this is 1.5, 2 years of that 40 years, right? So ensure that the rest of the 38 or 39 years, right, you are able to benefit from what you do now. So make the most of it. This time is tough.
Yeah.
It might even define the leader you become.
Yeah.
Don't forget this.
Wow.
Make the most of it.
Wow, lovely, lovely, absolutely lovely. Thank you so much, Saurabh. Thanks a lot for speaking to my audience, for sharing this wonderful, positive message. I think we all needed it badly, especially the class 12 and the students who are going through a real mess at the moment, the college students. Yes, of course. Thank you so much, Saurabh. Thanks a lot for coming on board. And I'm sure with your advice, many will benefit, and the retail sector will definitely come to surface very soon. Thank you so much, Saurabh. Have a wonderful life ahead.
Thank you, Archana. Thank you so much for this opportunity. See you. All the best.
That was Saurabh Bajaj for you. Pandemic or not pandemic, the adversities are not here to stay, they will not stay forever. But you have a whole professional life in front of you, and what you need to do is to get going. You need to build on your business strategies, your marketing strategies, put your team together so you have solutions in your hand to execute them flawlessly. The markets are bad indeed. These are unprecedented times, but it should not hold you from working towards your goals and what you want to achieve. The economy is definitely going through a dip at the moment, but it doesn't mean it's not going to recover. I hope we all stay positive as consumers, make our contribution as retailers, make our contributions as manufacturers, make our contributions to help our economy stabilize. I wish you all the best and stay tuned for more.